One of the things Colin and I love doing is travelling by train, and actually when we're looking at places to go, if there is a train journey to be done, that does slightly influence our choices on where we go. So we decided to take this train up to Soyer and experience going on an old wooden train. It was such a fantastic trip. There's definitely some handy hints that I'd like to give you about this, but once you get into the town of Soyer, you then can hop on a tram, and that is an old wooden tram, and that takes you right down to the port there. And a lot of people were going, and they were going to spend the day in the port, have some lunch, and then get the tram back. You don't need to book the tram, but I would advise you to book the train. And again, in the description, I will give you all of the information on how you book those things and the best apps to download to do your bookings. So this is the station. You're looking for the Soyer station, not the normal station. And these are the trains that are going to be travelling. They're a wooden style of old-fashioned train, and they're the ones you're going to be going on, which are really brilliant to see. So this is the actual station. Now, a little handy advice here and a top tip would be to book your train beforehand. I'll include all the details because they get full very, very quickly, and there's lots and lots of queues to get on the trains. If you're going out to Soyer, try and sit on the right hand side, and when you're coming back, sit on the left hand side. But as you can see, the scenery is just absolutely amazing. It's green, it's lush. There's a lot of farmlands, lots of old farm buildings as well. The trees, when we were going, were filled with lemons and oranges. And it really is beautiful. It takes about 1 hour to get up to Soyer, but please do remember as you're going along that there's trains that are coming in the opposite direction, so sometimes it can take just a little bit longer. You need to allow for that. There's also lots and lots of tunnels that you go through along the way, which at first, if you're not prepared, can be a little bit scary, but they're fine, and just get your window to come down whilst you're going through the tunnel, otherwise it can get really quite breezy in there. But these are the sorts of little stations that you go through, and they do slow down. It's really good to take pictures and everything. And then when you come out of the longest tunnel, there's a fantastic view and stopping point just outside the longest tunnel. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. So this is like one of the tunnels, and you can see here is the viewpoint. And this is looking down onto the town of Soyer. It really is much bigger than I'd expected, but fantastic views, and the mountains that are surrounding it are just really quite unbelievable. We saw loads and loads of cyclists there. They're cycling along all the mountain roads, and that was good to see. And that's in the distance, the town of Soyer. But so pretty, and lots of people come for a day, but some people go overnight or perhaps a couple of days. This is the train, and when you get off, you can go down the steps here, and that leads down into the town of Soler. And it's from that area there just to the right hand side where you start queuing to get the tram if you want to go down to the seaside area. That tram journey takes maybe half an hour, something like that, so build that into your time schedule. This is the view and the train. It really is a lovely day or a couple of days out. Lots going on, lots to see. I would say fairly commercialised. Prices are okay though. We had a couple of drinks, wine and a beer, and a plate of battered squid to share, calamari, and that was nice. And that just came to round about €15. So a little bit more expensive than we would pay back home in Spain. but probably Mallorca prices. So this is the coastal part, and we've all just come along in the tram here. This is the tram. We're just waiting to get back now, and I'll show you some of the beach. Lots of little cafes here along this part, which are nice. There's a harbour, quite a few lovely boats in. And also there's a gorgeous beach. So I'll just give you a little glimpse of that. There's your harbour. Some of the cafes along the front here. You can get lunch. You don't have to necessarily go back on the same tram. And then you've got this lovely beach that you can sit on, gorgeous white sand, and it's a beautiful bay. The sea is very clear. Not many people swimming today because it's still quite cold in the water there. I've been surprised at how green this area is, really is pretty. Plenty to see, plenty to do. And this is a real novelty, being on a tram. On the other side of the road, you've got quite a few apartments. If you want to stay down here, you can stay for a night. I believe there's quite a few Airbnbs. That's a great big apartment block there. So it's its own little tourist resort, really. And again, lots of places along this side of the road to eat and drink. There's quite a few cyclists down here, so people must cycle. Come down over the mountains. As you can see, really lovely properties in the hills at the top there. Plenty going on down in the seaside resort, part of the north coast here of Mallorca. Very, very nice. So this is the Puerto de Soler. If you want to come down and spend the day here or spend a night, couple of nights, it really is gorgeous. So as we leave the port and go back into the town here, I just wanted to remind you that you should allow extra time if you're taking the tram down to the port side, because it says half an hour down there and half an hour back. But again, sometimes there might be delays because there's trams on the lines coming in the opposite direction, and also obviously because of all the queues that you might find. This was quite an empty tram coming back for us, but we'd only had a short time down in the port. We didn't stay very long. So the trams that are going down around about 11 o'clock in the morning and coming back, say about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, they tend to get really, really busy. So just to be very aware of that. This is a really popular little tourist area. I was quite amazed actually at the number of people that were both in the town and down in the port. So just allow extra time in case you get tied up with the queues and the stops with the trams and the trains on the whole journey. So that little tram there is actually an information bureau. So if you want to get any information about how things work in Soler. And this is the tram coming up here now, and that's the group of people hoping to get on the tram. So be prepared for a busy old tram. The entrance here for the station. So Colin's actually waving at the gate. Hang on. You can see him there, and that's where you go to get your train back down into Palma. So this is the entrance for the train station that takes you back down into Palma. So this is where you go through, and you should have booked your ticket before you get on it, really. Sometimes they've got spaces, but I wouldn't take the gamble, really. And there we go, that's the train into Palma, and you head up the steps here. Okay. And then the train is often waiting, as it is now. This is 15 minutes before before the train leaves. So get here early in order to get the places that you want.